point, 3 episodes, and this, to me anyway, is a little bit like The Boys, in that it's just now we're off and running, and I don't feel the need to necessarily say this episode's an 8 or this one's a 3. Now we're just going through with what's happening, and I'm impressed with what's happening, as you probably figured out. I really like the way characters are being fleshed out. The King, good old King, Paddy Constantine. I should know their name. They're all called Vivirius. Except for Matt Damon, they're all called Vivirius. Vivirius, to me anyway. But I think I can. You really saw him under stress in this one. You really saw him freaking out. And I think we'd all agree that if he just kind of manned up a little bit and got a little bit more tough and stern on all number of things, particularly that war down there with the crab man,
right?
He would probably take a lot of pressure on himself. But he's trying to figure it. Like, he's not as if he's lazy, right? He's not.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out on the fly.
And I read or saw somewhere where I think it was Martin was making the point. The pressure he's under is the King before him was highly successful during extremely peaceful reign.
Right.
And that's the pressure he's on. He doesn't want to go to war because he's necessarily gutless, although he may be a bit of that.
He wants to maintain the status quo.
He wants to remain the status quo of peace and be the king that brought the peace. He's fearful, and because he talks about how that crown, the crown and that throne is a burden. His burden is to maintain the peace, so that his name will be mentioned in the same breath as his previous king. So he's trying to keep everyone happy and everything going, but circumstances obviously are demanding different actions. Obviously, his daughter, and now he's got the son now, Aegon.
Mm-hmm. Which I got. The other thing that this show is doing is that time jump, which is I initially was disruptive to me. But now I'm very glad we're not going through the details and minutiae of everything. It's like, let's get to the things that matter so we can get to whatever it is that really is supposed to matter the most out of this show.
And I don't think those time jumps, like when we come to the characters at the start of each episode, the characters haven't radically changed their viewpoints, or they're emotionally in a very similar place to where they finished in the last episode, albeit 3 years later or whatever it was.
Yeah. It was 2 years.
2 years later. So, yeah, you're right. It was great to see a Lannister in there being their usual arsehole selves. Even if it was called Jason, you can't take my name and put it on a Lannister. I don't appreciate that. I'll have words to someone. But the Lannisters there, of course, and they're trouble. They're always trouble. But I really enjoyed the scene at the end, the sequence at the end with Matt Damon just going apeshit crazy,
doing what he's supposed to do best.
Well, it was when you listen to the making ofs, it was a suicide run. Like he had no real intention of coming that out of alive. And it was a different way. We've seen so many battles and so many action sequences now in Game of Thrones through the 8 seasons that they needed something fresh. And this was like a one-man, like what was it?
But it wasn't even really a one-man wrecking crew. It literally was just him. Actually, it was more closer to that battle of the bastards. Whenever Jon Snow's standing and the horses are coming at him, because Matt, you're gonna have me calling him Matt Damon.
Call him Matt Damon. Well, his name is Damon Targaryen, and it's Matt Smith playing it. It is all intents and purposes Matt Damon.
Whatever David was there, he basically was just he only fought off a few of the soldiers before the dragons came in and just wrecked everything once they got him out the cavalry. The one thing that I feel most annoyed though about, even though it was a good cut scene to create the dichotomy, was the fact that we didn't get to see him actually kill the Crab Prince.
Yes, they did there. Yeah, I get that.
Especially to the extent that he did, where he sliced him literally across the body.
The entrails. You had to love the entrails. It was like big fat worms.
Bro, it took me like a whole minute to be like, wait, what's happening? Wait, who came out of this? Because initially I thought it was the Crab Prince, which I guess was the point. I thought it was the Crab
Yeah.
Prince pulling Matt at
Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
pulling Damon.
Mm.
But then whenever it was revealed, I'm just like, man, so much for him being the big bad to worry about. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, there is no big bad. The
Well,
big bad is going to be the oncoming war.
It's not a big bad. He's not a big bad, and you I like nearly
You're
all these
annoying.
characters. You get them, like you kind of get Matt Damon. You kind of get that this is he's got proper skills, like he's got talents for leadership, and I think that one of the reasons we see him just going crazy because he's not getting a chance to. No one's recognizing that, and no one's using that. Now, if someone gave him a way to express his leadership, maybe someone gave him a chance to strut his stuff, then it's highly likely that he might not be such an asshole, right? He might be that. Maybe not. We'll find out, I think.
But that's the thing. I think they've shown so many times. They talked about so many times that they've given him positions of leadership. The only leadership that he wants is a kingship. But at the same time, it's also the one that would create the most restrictions of his talents.
Could be, yeah, that's true. That's true because he talks at the king. That throne is just like all powerful positions. It's extremely lucrative, but it's like a ball and chain. Yeah, it's a ball and chain. So it's going to be. I'm watching these series now with these. Now I'm presuming that the king is he's on borrowed time, albeit the way these time jumps that keep happening. He's probably still got another 10 years in him. But I'm presuming there's a clock ticking on his life.
Right.
I'm presuming that when that happens, we're going to see that Targaryen civil war. And I'm in my mind as I'm watching this, I'm now saying, right, well, where are the pieces going to go, right? So where is I think it's Varys. That's her name. The daughter. Where's she heading?
Rhaenyra, you mean?
Yeah, the daughter. Yeah.
Rhaenyra.
So she's with. She's got her Sir Crispin, I think. What's his name? She's got her dark and handsome. She's got him sitting there, but she wants to do her own thing completely. Obviously, you've got Team Matt Damon, and with the Valerians,
who clearly we're seeing that man and his family got either betrayed or ransacked by the Lannisters. Because the Lannisters' power is in Game of Thrones is because of their ownership of the sea. And the Valerian was, as they showed, the richest person in the kingdom because of his ownership of the sea.
Some insights there from the gift time.
Let's go. Let's go. I might be disappointed in Game of Thrones and their season 8 and what we're doing, but I'm paying attention. I'm
You're being seduced. You're being seduced.
Calm down. Chill. They still got to do a lot of more work.
No, they don't. They don't need to do any more work. So there's that team there, and again we saw there's a bit of split there. Like they got a bit pissed off, I think, at Matt Damon down there at one point. Things in this is Game of Thrones. Nothing ever works out like it should. And then I think you've got Team Hightower. You've got the daughter who's got Aegon. Huge thing. And then you've got, Rhys Ifan, who is definitely at this point, the main schemer of the show. He's the little finger. He's the Varys. He's the one who's not the only one, but he's definitely the guy
trying to pull strings in the back over here.
He's pulling strings. He's manipulating. So at the moment, I'm just trying to figure out who's going where, how this is, and of course I'll probably get it completely wrong, but that's the fun. Instead of saying, well, who's going to win the Iron Throne?
Right.
The question is, and that's why I'm deliberately shying away from heavy spoilers and all these guys who are just saying, this is going to happen, No, I just want to see myself how this is going to play out.
Wrap into itself, man.
And to see where the pieces kind of at the moment we're seeing the pieces on the board just go into place, and RIP to the Crab Man. I thought we might see a little bit more Crab Man.
He's only supposed to be the existential threat to give us a level gauge for Damon and the rest of them.
Yes, but for considering that the dragons took over all of Westeros, defeated 7 or 8 different kingdoms quite easily. He did pretty well just to run inside caves. Right?
Yeah. It was a good plan. Like, get into caves. The caves are wet in there. They can't go inside there.
If only the other houses, when the Targaryens came across, had caves, they would have. Of course, you can't live in caves, and they probably would have been starved. So anyway, this to me has got some momentum going. Yeah. I'm not in a position now to say this was a bad episode, this was a good episode. I'm just going with the flow to see where this narrative is heading, and I'm enjoying it.
I do feel like, again, this is one of the. I feel like this is the same with She-Hulk, same with Lord of the Rings, same with now House of Dragons. I don't think I can make an assessment until everything comes together, because everything connects very loosely into each other. So episode by episode, ranking doesn't mean very much, because even in a slow one, let's say there's a slow one that comes, it clearly is setting up for something else down the line. And we need to see it all wrapped together, and then
it's going to be interesting, because there were definitely, why in Game of Thrones, why would you all look at the first 5 or 6 seasons through rose-colored glasses?
Yeah,
there was definitely times there when I thought, this is going nowhere. Like, you just had an episode there where it was just talk, or just clip jumping around, and it's perhaps what might make this one a little bit more compelling is the fact that by jumping ahead as they are, they're kind of skipping over those episodes mundane, where we had 3 people sitting around talking. Then we went up to the Starks, and they were talking. Then we went across to Tyrion, and he was, right. There's just a little bit more momentum with this one so far. So,
let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Subscribe!
Die.